Hello and welcome back to a brand new vlog. My name is Orion. I make videos every single Wednesday and Sunday and post them at 6 p.m. where we are currently in the process of renovating our home and turning things like this to nice cozy spots like this. In the last vlog, we focused on getting the backboard all pinned in and screwed in so it doesn't move anywhere and it's at a comfortable sitting height. And that has left a lot of woodwork and mess everywhere. Wherever you look, there's just scrap pieces of plywood and cuts of plywood here, saws out. The place is just a mess. And as I look at the date right now, it is crunch time. We are moving back here really soon. So today we need to finish up with the woodwork, get it all cleaned and get this thing finalized. That way we can prepare to store things underneath there and start moving back in. Because like I said, we really don't have long before we're coming back here. And right now it's just in no state to live in. So with the main focus being the bench, I've done some thinking and I've decided to get some cladding. And today's plan is to cut all of these cladding in half and fill this entire backboard with that. Once we have got the cladding done, we need to focus on getting the end panels all fitted in and ready to go on the end. We need to use some more plywood to make a box unit that's going to come out of here so I can have a socket that raises for the kitchen. And then finally, we need to fill all of the holes in that we've made and put some on the end grain here so we can paint over it and it gives it a nice clean look. So, quite a bit to get on with today, so let's get to it. Now, after doing some measurements, this piece of cladding actually fits 2 across here. So if I make an exact cut bang in the middle, I should get 2 cladding for the price of 1. So in an effort not to make any mistakes, I'm going to use one piece as a test and I've marked it out where I need to cut. And then hopefully these 2 pieces, when slotted together, should fit perfectly against the backboard. And our survey says, oh my days, would you look at that? It's flush at the bottom and it's actually bang on flush at the top. How is that worked out? I have not preemptively measured this and against the cladding before I bought it. I just went to the place today to find some cladding and it just worked out perfectly that I get twice my bang for my buck. But right, I'm gonna need quite a lot of those, so I reckon we roll a time lapse. Okay, I have got quite a lot of cladding cut to size. Definitely didn't make a mistake, let's not talk about that. Let's see if we need any more of these cutting down to size. Just have 2 pieces left. If we ignore the mistakes that I made earlier, that has actually worked out perfectly. All right, what I need to do next is glue it to the backboard. I would use nails, but I don't have a nail gun and I don't have any nails and I ain't spending any more money. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue them one board at a time across there. I'm gonna use some 2x3 to basically clamp it to the backboard. So once all of these are glued and in place, I'll basically run a 2x2 in front of it, clamp it at that end, clamp it at that end, and it should pin it to the backboard and let the glue dry. So right, with all the panels off, let's get them glued on. A lot of gluing and paneling later, we have finished one backboard. Now I only have 2 clamps, so I'm gonna let this one dry before starting this one, and we're gonna work on the box unit in the corner. Which means measuring how much we're gonna need to go that way, and then how much we're gonna need to go that way. And a few cuts later, we've got our box. I just can't put all of that in there yet because there's clamps and wood everywhere. So now I'm waiting for 2 things. So what I'm gonna do in the meantime is sort out these doors because I need sanding down and fitting to size. The first one really isn't that far off. It fits in snug there, but on this side here, you can see that it's a little bit tight, so I need a bit more sanding down on this end. So let's use the mouse. And just like that, it fits perfectly. This one, however, is actually cut to the wrong size, so I need to cut a new door out for this part. A quick saw later, we've got a brand new panel, or door, for this big section here. It is a completely different colour from the rest of the wood, but it doesn't matter, I'm going to paint it. Next up, we need a cube to go on top there. And with it all lined out, I can actually use the miter saw for a change to get it cut. So here's one. And here is the second. That is one corner piece cut to size. I think it's time we tackle the end pieces. So this is the triangle that we want to cut out here, and I basically laid a scrap piece of wood next to it. I'm going to run the blade straight down the middle there. And then using this to guide, we should get a really clean cut, he says. Let's try it out. Well, we definitely went straight down the line. And then using my speed square, I can make my final cut across here to give me my triangle. Fingers crossed that this fits perfectly. Oh, I'm hoping it sits on there. Oh, it actually does fit perfectly. Look at that, we've nailed it. Now we just need one for the other side. Perfecto. Now that this is actually dried, let's see if the box goes in the corner. I'm quite hopeful, but I imagine that this is going to be quite a tight squeeze. So, I can't remember which way I measured it around. That one goes in there, which is too short. Oh no, it's not too short. It's just right. This one goes in here, like so. And then, on top, goes our little box. Or a square, which goes in one of these ways, like that. Nice and snug. And I think that is almost perfect. I think I bashed that down a bit too much. There you go, goes in like that. It just needs to all be screwed in and glued in and stuff like that. Which until now, I'd not actually thought about how I was gonna do that, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some wood glue and glue it together now. So we're gonna put a little bit of this on the end, like so. Then we'll clean off the excess with a nice wet rag. Leave it to dry, and it should be good to go in the corner. But right, let's crack on with this bit now so we can clamp in like a bracer to keep it tied in. A little bit of gluing later, it is starting to come along nicely. So I think now that this is dried, we can go ahead and glue on the end piece. Because this is like end grain, what I'm doing is I'm just like brushing it and basically allowing the glue to soak in to the grain so before I actually stick it on here, because I feel like the end grain is just gonna soak up the glue. So I ain't rushing anything here, trying to be as best as I can. Make sure it's all sticking in properly. But that is one end piece looking good. I think it is slowly but surely really starting to come together now. One mistake I think I have made is that I've put the trim on before I've put these panels on, because the trim probably ideally should have sat on top there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down, see what it looks like, and worst case scenario, I'll probably add another trim on top if it looks bad, but honestly I don't think it's that big of a deal. Alternatively, I could just run some beading that goes across the top here just to kind of cap it off like I did in the bedroom. So yeah, not too worried about it, but it is just one of those things that you learn as you go. All right, I think it's time to grab the mouse and a GoPro and time lapse myself sanding all this down, because it's going to take me a while. So roll the music. Okay, we managed to get this part of it sanded down before my sander died, and I'm just in a point now where I'm just waiting for things to either charge or dry. So Benjamin's got the right idea of helping me tidy up. So I think we get this room tidied up a little bit and we'll get rid of as much sawdust as possible before inevitably creating more. But it is something to be done, so let's roll back into the time lapse. Oh my days, you don't have any idea how exhausting it is to hoover this carpet and get rid of as much sawdust as possible. Really regretting getting that cleaner in now because the carpet is full of sawdust, but it is what it is. Either way, we've got this room looking nice and clean again. You may have noticed through the first time lapse that I started putting screws into these boards, and I've split this one, which isn't great, but basically, when I started sanding it, the vibrations pulled the board away from what I'd glued it to because it's not completely flush. So I put screws in the top to pin it in for now. And then in a couple of days, when the glue has dried, I'm going to take the screws out and see if it's stuck, because that no nail stuff does stick for like 50 kg, like after 48 hours, and it's obviously not been that long. So I'll leave these in for now. Worst case scenario, I can just fill them in. I'm going to be painting over all of this anyway, so I'm not too stressed about it. Again, this is obviously like a temporary thing for now whilst we live here. It's going to go at some point, so yeah. I wouldn't worry too much about it being perfect. That being said, I think we can finally do some of the final touches on this, which is the corner bit there and the end piece that needs to go on here. So after a little bit more wood glue, we've got that one on nicely and it's all starting to come together. Just one more piece to go. Really hoping this slots in nicely and stays in there. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, we can safely say we are one step closer to having this thing finished. It has been an absolute labor of love trying to get this thing done. It has been quite the headache to figure out how to do it. It's probably the hardest DIY thing I've actually done to date. From using a circular saw for the first time, extending sockets into that, building a frame, getting all the plywood in, again, gluing wood into place, doing the box there in the corner. It's honestly so much to do. The hardest thing I've had to do so far has has to have been like the angled cuts and trying to do it consistently. I'm glad I got it in the end, and it does look pretty nice now. I'm still in two minds about whether I'm 100% sold on what it looks like. Hopefully when I cover it all up in paint and I fill all the holes in and stuff like that, it should look really good. But I don't know, man, I've just been stressing out about this for so long that I'm beginning to lose faith in it. So do let me know in the comments down below if you like it, if you have any suggestions, and obviously like feedback for like things that I could do in the future if I ever do something like this again. Please do let me know. But if you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up rating. I would genuinely appreciate it. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, all that mythical stuff that happens on YouTube. If you are someone who is new to my channel, then hit subscribe. We're on our road to 25k, which in itself is quite crazy to even say. Constantly every day the channel is continuously growing, and I know it's probably because I'm working on a project and there's something to follow along with, and that is going to sadly come to an end at some point as we look to move back into here soon. But if you do enjoy this kind of content and you like following along with my life and my family and what we get up to, then please do hit subscribe. But this is where we leave the bench project for today. In the next vlog, we need to get it all filled in, painted and finished so it has a nice look to it. And then the final step is just cleaning this room and getting it ready to move back into, because there was a lot of stuff left to do. We're just moving back in here. The corridor is literally atrocious right now. All of that needs to come back in here, and I need to get ready to come home to work out this place. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. But as always, guys, been Orion. Peace, peace, much love. Bye-bye.